Hi there, this is Alfie Wattam, London's technology recruiter and the host of the London Tech podcast. Today I'm joined by Elnar. Thanks for joining us. Could you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Alfie. Thanks for inviting me for this talk. My background is in computer science. So I started pretty early on as I was still at primary school. Well, actually a bit later, but at school, doing some coding and then really enjoyed it and decided that to be my career all the way through. So went to university originally in my hometown, Baku, where I was born. Then went to finish up my studies in Germany at Brandenburg Technology University, and then all the way to Oxford, where I did my master's and DPhil in computer science. In the process, I worked in different companies, biggest internet service providers, small companies providing software development services, large organizations like Siemens developing some of their advanced medical hardware, obviously in the IT and software area. Started a couple of companies in different areas. Yeah, so that's been my background so far.
Awesome. So you've been in the industry for a while now as a CTO. What about people that are just getting into the industry? What advice would you give to maybe to yourself when you're just starting your tech career?
Well, I think first of all, I'd like to congratulate people who are selected this field and are graduating in IT space. I think it is a very exciting area, both to study and then to work in. So well done on your choice. I think IT is an area that in which a lot of innovation happens. So there's a lot of new ideas, very cutting edge technologies that are being developed. So I think it's definitely very exciting space to be in. I think a lot of people will absolutely enjoy that. I think it's a place of startups. So it is. When you're working in a startup, you are, everything you do has a strong impact. So that I think that's people who graduate and join startups, they will very quickly discover that they will be making an actual impact on the world. I think there's a lot of learning as well. So this is a very dynamic space. So a lot of things happen very quickly. New technologies develop while you're building something. Before you finish it, it might be already outdated because the world has moved on. So one of the things I'd recommend to people graduating in this space is to never stop learning. School has given you a lot of knowledge, but that's just the beginning. And don't forget that this field is accelerating. So do make sure you invest time in learning new technologies. Because a lot of innovation happens, as I said, and a lot of startups in this space, I'd recommend to people to explore it. Especially in the beginning when people might not be sure what they really enjoy, what they like, which I mean, it's even if we're talking about IT, it's a huge space. You can be working in IT in a medical sector. You can be working in IT sending satellites to space. You can be working in IT and understanding human psychology better. So, it's a very, very diverse space. And so, do find out what really lies, what's really close to your heart, and don't hesitate to experiment. Um, I think because this is very powerful technology. A lot of big impact is being done to mankind. So I think it's important to keep that in mind, whatever we're doing, and keep in mind the ethical implications of some of the work that we might be working on, particularly in areas like AI. I think there's a lot of talk about some of the ethics implications in this space, but it's not just limited to that as well. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I think that'd be some of the recommendations. And yeah, just have fun because this is a very exciting space to be in.
Awesome. Well, I completely agree with all of that. It's a great industry to be in. Obviously, always be learning, make sure that you're focusing on things which actually add value and not using things like AI for malicious purposes. And obviously having fun is a good way to sum it up. Now, you mentioned AI, and that could be your answer to this. But if you were to look into the future, are there any technologies which you think will have a big impact on the future ahead?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think AI is definitely one of those areas. And I myself work in this field. So as you said, I'm CTO of a company called Realize, where we specialize in developing a particular kind of AI that is measuring human behavior. And we're building this technology to there's many applications to it, and many of these applications are very dear to our heart. So just to give you some examples, the technology that we build is usually not very empathetic. It's not very emotional. It doesn't really understand our feelings that well. And that's the gap that we're trying to bridge. Applications of understanding human behavior are very wide. We started with understanding the engagement of people with content that they see on screen. So that we have developed over the years a number of products in this space. So if the content that they see make them happy, make them surprised, if they get bored and no longer paying attention to what they see on screen. So that was our kind of starting point. But now, especially with the whole COVID situation and the use of online conferencing tools in places like education, both for adults and for children. There's a need to understand how people are engaging in those kind of environments. Are they able to follow? Are they understanding? Are they getting anxious? So it's a great value in using that in education. It can be used for healthcare as well. So there's a lot of companies, a lot of startups building technology for telehealthcare. So telehealthcare applications. I think there are some that are either connected or even provided by NHS. So where you can reach out to your GP online in a similar scenario. So advancing those kind of technologies with the measurement of human behavior can have a strong impact. For example, for early detection of signs of dementia or signs of depression. There's a lot of talk about depression that now that people have to stay at home. Even before pandemia, depression is one of the major societal problems that are out there. So these are just some examples. Security or safety is another application. So if you're driving a car and for example, for elderly people, they may have a heart attack, and you're no longer paying attention to the road, and this kind of technology can help take some preemptive measures and park the car and call some healthcare services, or if it's a bus that's drives people, and something happens to the driver, for example, not for some reason not paying attention to the road anymore, so it can be very, very important there. And when you're working on such technology that that has such a broad impact on society, it really motivates you. It really keeps you awake at night, and it's really exciting to be part of this journey, and part of the impact that you're making by working on such technology. So I'm a big believer in AI in general. I think over the last few years we've seen loads of great applications for it. I am personally very passionate about emotion AI. We call it emotion AI because that's measuring the using AI to understand human emotions. Yeah, and like with any technology, there's always the downside to it. So that's why I think it's important that we keep that in mind too. But I'm more on the positive side. I think the technology is amazing and has great prospects.
Awesome. I love the term emotion AI. That's what you use at Realize, don't you? It's your sort of tagline in a sense.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
all. Great.
We want our mission is to create 1 trillion more smiles in the world.
Awesome. That's a great mission to have. Absolutely. Brilliant. Well, thank you, Elnar, for taking the time to get your insights and ideas. That was awesome and really useful. So thanks again for taking part, and thank you to everybody for watching as well.